What's this? New location, you see? Yes! We are! We have moved into my bedroom! And this is one of my bookcases that you can see a foot of. Ha ha ha! Yeah, so, hi BookTube! My name is Asha and welcome to Butterfly Claps. Yay! So hey guys! Long time no see! Ah, you get it? Long time no tea? You get it? She's a dork? Okay, yeah. Okay, so today we are gonna be doing a library book haul! I'm very excited, as you can see, which is why I'm wiggling. Yeah, I put a bunch of books on hold, and about 20 of them, and they had 10 of them ready for me. So I was able to go and pick up 10 books from the library. Super juiced because these are books that I really wanted to read. And yeah, so let's get into it. So first book is Master of One. I don't know if you guys can see that. Ew, focus camera, focus, focus, focus. Ah, Master of One by Jada Jones and Danny Bennett. Okay, so Master of One. I was really excited to grab this book. Most of these books are books that I discovered either on BookTube or Bookstagram, which is pretty much where I've been finding most of my books lately, or I go down a Goodreads rabbit hole. So it's like you find one book and then you know what a Goodreads rabbit hole is. I go down a Goodreads rabbit hole. Okay, so this book takes place in what's called Queen City, and where our main character, we're following a 2-bit thief named Rags, whose latest score goes really bad and he ends up getting nabbed by the royal sorcerer. And then the royal sorcerer enlists him to find these 6 Fey relics, and Rags tries to figure out a way to get out of them until he realizes that the 6 Fey relics are actually people. So Rags and these 6 Fey relics who are actually people end up banding together to try and stop Morin, who is the royal sorcerer, from enacting whatever kind of malicious plan he has going on. And it's just a gang of misfits working together, and I love that trope. So it seems very much like found family trope, anti-hero. I love both of those tropes, so I'm really excited to read this one. So Master of One, it's book number 1. Book number 2 is The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. Dun, 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 dun. Yep, okay, it focused. So this book follows Rin. She is a peasant girl from one of like the country provinces in this nation, and she is extremely smart and ends up passing this test that like families prepare, like rich families prepare like their kids from birth to learn how to pass to get into the Empire's like special military school. And so she ends up passing it without any like formal training, and they think that she cheated to get in, but she obviously didn't. She's just really smart, and when she gets there, because of the fact that she's a peasant, because of colorism, because she's like a darker color than the rest of the students there, or the rest of like the elite family, she gets picked on and belittled and put down. And then she discovers that she has not only the smarts, but this like amazing power that no one else has. And she tries to learn how to harvest it and use it and become all around badass. She wants to learn how to use her power to fight in the Empire's military, because there's a war brewing. Okay, so I started reading this book before, and I got like 1/3 of the way through, and then I think I ended up having to give it back to the library. I could have extended it, but I was like feeling it, but I wasn't feeling it at the same time. Like the writing was outstanding, but I was just kind of like having a difficult time connecting with the main character. But I think it was because like I found her to kind of be like really like a hard character, you know, and I was just not, I don't know, I think at that moment in time I was looking for a little bit of mushy, a little bit more sentimentality, and that was not what this main character was about. But I think now I have a better appreciation for this book, or I could have a better appreciation for this book. I just really liked the journey that she went on when I first started reading the book, even though I said she was a really hard character. But I think it was just because she was so daggum determined to leave everything that she'd come from behind. And so I was kind of like, there were some instances where I was like, ooh, couldn't relate, but I did like it. So I want to finish it and see where the story goes. Now, this is only the first book. This is a series, and so I would like to finish this series, so I was really excited that I grabbed this book. Yeah, so I'm already going into it a bit excited because I've kind of read some of it. Book number 3 is The Ladies of the Secret Circus by Constance Sayers. Now, the reason I grabbed this book is because I am a huge fan of the Night Circus, and I think specifically in this book, I don't know if you guys can see it. Focus, focus, focus. Yeah, and specifically in this book, they were saying something like a blurb, like if you liked the Night Circus, you would like this book, and I loved the Night Circus. And so this is The Ladies of the Secret Circus. No relation. So this book takes place in 2 different timelines. It takes place in Paris, 1925, and in Virginia, 2004. In Paris, we follow Cecile Cabot, who is a member of her family circus, which is the Secret Circus, where they weave illusions, and there's trapeze artists that float across the sky, and there's Ferris wheels that can take you back in time, and Cecile is bound to her circus, but I think that she wants to experience what life is like outside of the circus, and then she ends up falling in love with this charismatic painter, and kind of her world changes. And in 2004, Laura Barnes is on top of the world until her fiance disappears on their wedding day. And when her desperate search for answers unexpectedly leads her to her great-grandmother's journals, Laura is swept up into a story of a dark circus and an ill-fated love, which I'm assuming is Cecile. This just has romance and magic written all over it, and I love romance and magic, and I was really excited to read this book. And like I said, people that said that it reminded them a lot of the Night Circus, which was just amazing, so I'm hoping for some amazing visuals in here as well. Yeah, so really just about this book. Book number 4 is Crown of Midnight by Sarah J. Maas. Yeah, I read the first one in this series. Forgive me, I'm forgetting the name of the whole series. Oh, it's the Throne of Glass series. Okay, so the Throne of Glass series is series. I read the first one, and I actually really liked that one. Unlike what I said earlier about A Court of Thorns and Roses, which I'm still not finished with and still don't quite get the hype. I actually did enjoy this book. I enjoyed the characters, and so I was excited to read the next one. So excited I got it. Crown of Midnight. I'm hoping this is actually book 2, because if I got the wrong book, that would be a hot mess. Okay, book number 5 is Love in Other Words by Christina Lauren, and I have talked about Christina Lauren. I love these 2 writers so much. Like, I think they just pump out phenomenal romance novels, and so I am here for it and very excited. I don't actually even remember what this one was about. Let's see. Oh, right. Okay, so this one was about, okay, so it's about this doctor. She is a pediatrics resident, and she's got her life all planned out before her, set onto a schedule. She's planning out a new wedding to her fiance, who's older than her, an older gentleman, and she ends up running into her first love, who broke up with her, broke her heart, and she doesn't even remember why. And she had probably, a lot of that is why she built this like wall around herself and was really wanting to control everything that was happening in her life. And so it's kind of about him trying to step back into her life, and they both have to explore old hurts, and they have to mend old wounds that hadn't been healed. And yeah, I am all about this. And they just write such lovely love stories. Like, I've loved every book of theirs that I've read, so really juiced about it. Love in Other Words by Christina Lauren. Book number 6 is Fireborn. Yep, there it is. Okay, Fireborn by Rosaria Munda. It's about dragons. I mean, I don't know if there's anything else that I need to say, really. It's a book that has people riding dragons, and if I could ride a dragon, I would do it. The 2 main characters are Annie and Lee. Annie, I believe, was lowborn. She was like a commoner, and her parents were killed by dragon fire. I think they were executed, not killed. They were executed by dragon fire. And then Lee's family, I believe, was killed in the war. So they both end up becoming orphans. And Lee's family was like a rich family. And they both end up becoming orphans, and they're raised in the same orphanage. And they're both raised to fight in this new army. They end up both being trained to be in the dragon fleet. And they become rivals, but they're also still really good friends and kind of the only family that the other one had. But everything changes when the survivors from an old regime come back to claim the city. And so it ends up tearing them apart. They end up on two different sides of the war. And we get to see how that plays out and whether or not they'll end up choosing each other or whether or not they'll end up choosing duty over themselves and their love. So yeah, so I want to see this. AKA read this. Yeah. Okay, y'all, I am so excited to read this book. Book number 7 and book number 8, because they're together, is Aurora Rising and Aurora Burning. Both of these by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. Now, okay, don't come at me, y'all, because I think there's some drama going on with Jay Kaufman in the Twitterverse or something. I don't know if he said something controversial. I have not seen and or heard and or read anything that he has said. So I'm basing all of my excitement just straight up off the literature and the fact that I love the Illuminae files so much. So I was really excited to pick up these books because it seems like this is another freaking space opera and I'm just here for it. I'm here for it. I'm here for a space opera. I'm here for quirky characters that I end up loving. So yes, both of these books, I got them both because I know that I'm just gonna bust through them really quickly, and I wanted to be able to pick up and grab the second one as soon as I was done with the first one. So I am super juiced to read these books. And it's again, yeah, like I said, it's a gang of misfits, so it's again with the found family. They do a really good job at building like found family. They did a really good job in the Illuminae files of doing that too, and I'm just like here for it and excited and very ready to go. 9th book, Legendborn by Tracy Deonn. I don't know if you can see that. Legendborn by Tracy Deonn. And so Legendborn that follows main character Bree Matthews, whose mother dies in an accident when she's 16 years old, and she doesn't want anything to do with her family memories or her home. So she ends up going to this residential program for bright high schoolers at UNC Chapel Hill, and it seems like the perfect escape until she witnesses a magical attack on her very first night in campus. And the magical attack ends up being these people fighting demons. And they're they call them Legendborn with these powers that they have. And I think if I'm summarizing this correctly, she ends up infiltrating because she realizes that actually this might have something to do with her mother's death. So she ends up infiltrating like the Legendborn not league, what's the word I'm looking for? So she ends up infiltrating the Legendborn society, trying to learn their secrets and figure out what happened to her mom and what they had to do with it. But then she ends up having a grudging respect for them and what they're doing. So she's trying to figure out whether or not she wants to bring them down or end up working with them. And it's urban, kind of like an urban fantasy, and I'm here for an urban fantasy, and this seems really cool. And plus this cover is just like freaking beautiful. I know it's hard to see in the plastic, but it's amazing, so I'm really excited about this book. And the last book on the list is Sorcery of Thorns by Margaret Rogerson. Yeah, okay, so this book I'm so excited about because it's about a girl who grew up in a library that's surrounded by magical books, and so I mean, if this could be my life, I would love it. So you're following Elizabeth, and she grew up in one of the great libraries in their land. And the thing about their libraries is their libraries all house grimoires, class levels 1 through 10. 10 being very volatile and violent that they have to keep down in a vault, and 1 being something that's, you know, very tame. And the cool thing about these grimoires is that she's able to communicate with them because she lives in this library, and they can be really dangerous if they end up getting, if the grimoires themselves end up getting injured, because they turn into what is known as a malfict, which is like this monstrous creature. So the books transform into these monstrous creatures that you have to fight. And so her whole dream, her whole life is to become a warden of the library, and right now she's a librarian's apprentice. And one night something happens in the library. The director of the library, it's like the head warden, ends up getting killed, and Elizabeth ends up getting blamed for it, and she ends up having to defend herself, and it throws her whole life into turmoil, and all this chaos ensues, and she ends up having to ask a sorcerer for help, which for her, which I didn't mention because I'm not that great at summarizing books, which for her is like the worst thing ever, because growing up in the library they were taught that all sorcerers were evil, and so she's having to overcome this prejudice and work with this creature, or this person who she thought was evil, and shenanigans ensue. And yeah, really excited to read this. So yeah, that's it, guys. Those are the 10 books that I got from the library, my library book haul. Super excited to read it. I will keep you guys posted. So yeah, until the next time, friends, fellow bookworms, guys and gals, until we meet again, for the love of books, tea, socks, and cats. Yes! Also sock cam coming at ya. Okay, guys. All right, it was good seeing you. I will talk to you soon.